It's important that you're always open to criticism and you're surrounding yourself with people that are questioning what you're doing in order for you to get better. So you always need to be open to criticism. A lot of people will not listen to criticism. They will turn the criticism around and question the person's motives for criticizing them, or actually don't listen and just criticize the person back. When you hear criticism, it's important to use that to improve. People that are improving the most are continually seeking out the most demanding environments and people to work with who are pushing them to do their best. From an attorney standpoint, that means that they would work with people that are not easy to work with, that are going to make them better attorneys. In a lot of professions, it's important to have coaches and other people that will question the quality of your work in order to make you better, or question your routines, or question what you're doing to develop business, and not just coast on your laurels and make sure you're continually getting better. When I interview people, or when law firms interview people, it's always important to see if the person's going to be teachable. So a lot of times when I'm interviewing people for recruiting positions, for example, the person will say, I know that, I know that, I know that, or when you try to tell them something and they act like they know everything. Those people tend to be the worst recruiters because they assume that they know everything. And so because they assume that they know everything, they're not going to do well. The people that do the best and the people that are often the smartest and went to the best schools and have had the best jobs and the most longevity and the best jobs are often the people that when you talk, they listen and they spend a lot of time listening, because they're trying to improve and they want to absorb all the knowledge they can, and they don't believe that they know everything. When people think that they know everything, they're afraid of learning what they did wrong. They are not open to criticism. They avoid circumstances where they're going to be accountable. So that would be not showing up to meetings where they're going to have to be talked about things, avoiding meetings where their work's going to be reviewed, avoiding anything that's going to make them responsible to improve. Those are the signs that somebody's probably going to fail. The best law firms do not tolerate any form of mediocrity. They make sure that the quality of work that's being done is the best it can be. They make sure no typos are in the product, but then the work product's very good. The people that they hire are very good. They make sure they come out of the best schools and they have the best grades. They also will not hire people that do not accept criticism. They want people that are going to accept criticism and get better, and people that are hungry to learn. They want people that went to the most demanding schools because it's harder to get into those schools, and the schools don't tolerate mediocrity when they're admitting people. I was talking to an attorney recently that was part of a class at a major law firm, and he'd gone to a very good law school. And this law firm told him that, you're not improving at the level that your peers are. So even though he may have been profitable for the law firm asked him to leave. The best law firms do that. They want people to be advancing and getting better and getting more detail-oriented, and they're writing to improve, and them to become better in court and constantly becoming better and better. The weakest law firms are not as concerned with that. They're not constantly pushing people to improve. And because of that, they're not as good. The best law firms have very rigorous procedures in place for hiring attorneys and then also for reviewing attorneys once they're there, creating an atmosphere where those attorneys are competing against each other. So in order to get a job with the best law firms, you typically have to go to the best law schools. You have to do this very well in the best law schools. You have to go through summer associate programs where the law firm is going to weed people out even at that stage. Then in order to get into the best law firms, you're going to get reviewed on an ongoing basis. You're going to work with a variety of attorneys that are going to assess your work product, your motivation, and your abilities, and they're going to weed you out based on that, and they're going to make sure that the best people are there. That's a service that they're providing to their clients. That's not going to happen at a mediocre law firm. One thing I often notice, the top candidates typically earn the best grades at the best schools. This shows up what they do. If you look at a law school like Yale, which is very interesting, Yale's a very hard law school to get into because it has a small class and they have a lot of people that want to go there. So the resumes and the undergraduate, they typically went to very, very good colleges and did very, very well there. But in addition to that, they majored in very difficult things a lot of times at those good colleges. The kind of classes and things they took are not the same level of challenge that an average student would take. You can go to any school in any state and do exceptionally well and do well in your LSATs and go to Harvard, and it's not that hard to do. I know plenty of people that went to Berkeley, for example, that went to community colleges for a couple years and then got very good grades. Or the same thing with UCLA, or the same thing with Michigan, or Virginia is another school. So you can do well but not take good challenging classes at a lot of these places and go to Harvard and all sorts of law schools. The point is that in order to go to the best law schools and the best law firms, you need to challenge yourself to the highest level possible. One thing I would say is that the best law firms will typically manage their people very well. You should always question how you're doing things in order to continually improve. It's a race, and so the attorneys that do the best over the longest term are always going to be the ones that are continually improving and getting better. If you don't improve and you're not getting better, then you will kind of fall off the tracks.